Hi, it's Mark Coopersmith with my friend, colleague, and marketing guru, Liz Allen, and this is the final slide in our series of videos around building a go-to-market strategy, plan, and tactics. And in this video, Liz is going to share with us in particular some tips and some perspectives that are going to help you step back from all the operational components we just spent time going through, say, how does all of this come together? So Liz, thanks for joining us and let's go.
Always a pleasure. I want to start with this tip, and this is something that you're probably not going to read about in a book because I sort of made up the words. I call it the complete customer view, but it's something that I take my teams through when we're starting to develop media planning. And so it really adds a little bit of a dimension to how you're approaching the customer journey and your go-to-market plans. It's about intersecting the customer where they are. Where you're relevant and might make sense for them. So from a B2B perspective, you're going to want to consider things like the company culture, where they are in their budgeting cycle, all those kind of pieces. And we want to maximize the number of touch points we have with this customer. That's called frequency, and or make it really important every time we do get in front of that customer.
So as you,
Yeah.
let's say where we are here. One of the things for me that's really interesting, way back when in our series of videos, we talked about brands that our customers like, whether they're consumers or whether they're B2B customers. One of the things we didn't talk about as much then, but you might be touching on it now, is where they get their media, where they get their information. So what channels do they like? Do they, if they have to make a decision, do they talk to friends or go to conferences or look at influencers or read reviews? Trying to understand the way that they think, this complete customer view, so we can be in front of them in the right channels at the right point when they're moving their way through the life cycle.
Exactly. And basically it's the consumption of media and how they get information. And again, very different on a B2B level than a B2C level. So this is a little bit more B2C oriented, these slides I have here. But if you think about it, you've probably already consumed 100 media messages. You probably just haven't even thought about it. So if you get up and you start listening to your news headlines or your podcast or whatever, you're already going to be bombarded with some sponsorships and some messages and things like that. You get on a train and you go to work or you go to school or something like that, and you are surrounded by out of home marketing and advertising. And so all of these places, wherever you are in the grocery store, maybe you're having coffee with friends, maybe you're at the gym, you are literally being bombarded with media messages everywhere you go. And so it's really being thoughtful about what are the times where it's relaxing for you. If the trains in Tokyo are super stressful, don't be on the train because you don't want to be part of that stressful experience. But if the trains are smooth running and there's no strike and it's a lovely, like relaxing experience, what a great place to talk about your product and reinforce that you just might be in their world in a different way. So it's not just like, I need to get, they consume radio and they do this and they reprint and I will retarget them. That's great. But this is just asking you to open your mind a little bit and really think about their world and their day and walk through that day of the customer. As you're doing your customer research, tell me about your day from soup to nuts. What toothpaste are you using? Maybe we should do a partnership with that toothpaste. It's weird. All my customers love Crest or something like that.
No,
And
we often spend times thinking about a day in the life.
exactly.
And right, so follow your customer through a typical day, and sometimes there are some surprises there where you might find a window to connect with them in a more meaningful and open way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I have a handful of more tips for you. And these are a little bit more serious. Not that that's just a little bit of secret sauce I wanted to share with you. But here it's really cultivating your customer relationships. So even though we are focused on those early adopters and the influencers, that is absolutely super important and you should focus on them. But make sure you have a relationship with them. Keep that journey and that conversation going. Continually go back to them. If you have a little bit of a group that you can call in and be your focus group and run ideas, especially if you're trying to pivot or add new features or benefits or things like that. So make sure you're getting that feedback from them and keep that relationship going. I'm going to say it again, continually champion the customer. So if they have a different thought or their perspectives change, the marketplace changes, maybe there's a dynamic and, a recession or something else that might change their perspective, and you're probably going to want to change with them.
Yeah.
I would also say be creative in how you plan this. So consider that customer life cycle we just talked about. I would learn from the market, learn from other categories. What has so-and-so done that's worked really well? Also, what has so-and-so done that didn't work? And what can we learn from that? They spent a lot of money, or they didn't spend enough money, or they went big too fast and then they couldn't keep up with demand. They needed to meter something out, or whatever the case may be.
We can often learn a lot of that from our customers through our customer discovery, again, by saying, how do you solve this problem now? What products do you use? What do you like? What don't you like? And it's amazing what we can learn through the eyes of our customers, and then build on what they like, and of course, avoid what they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would
great.
also say surprise and delight is great, whether it's in your portfolio or there's something else that your customer is not expecting, just something to remind them of who you are and reinforce what you can do for them.
What might an example of surprise and delight look like?
This is hilarious. My son is 14, and he will forever be a Vans fan. Vans,
Vans shoes.
he joined the club, started to buy Vans pants and shoes, whatever. One day, this box arrives, and it is like bubblegum pink colored shoes, just like this ice cream flavor color shoes, that he would never have bought these shoes. He was so excited to wear these shoes, and they sent him in a size, and they knew who he was.
And he hadn't ordered them.
He didn't order. It came out of nowhere. Thanks for being part of our club. And I'm sure it was like some clearance shoe, and they didn't care if they were going to mark these down or send them out or whatever the deal is. He will be a fan for life. This kid is 14. I bet he will buy Vans until he's 50.
And
60.
how many times did he wear those pink Vans shoes to school?
He wore them out.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So a great way to create a brand ambassador.
Exactly. Just 2 more slides, I think, maybe 3. Your messaging has to be clear. I know we talked about messaging very briefly, but meet your customer's point of view, not your own. This is about what they think, what they want, what they're trying to solve, not what you think you can solve for them. So again, in your customer discovery, hear their words. We always say 2 ears, 1 mouth in that ratio for a reason. Do a whole lot more listening than you do talking. So don't forget to answer that so what. We've got the newest, greatest, environmentally friendly API. So what? Well, it's going to save the planet. How? Why do I care? You care because you can help, donate this, or from our offset, we will donate something to these schools of your choice. Oh, that matters to me. So make sure you get that so what answered. Be relevant and really quickly establish that product market competitive fit, your positioning and your value prop. Get it out there as fast as you can. The customer life stages are important, so use that map and really pace your communication. And I would say don't run before you walk. Don't propose on that first date. Take them for a couple movies and coffee as we go along.
Understand it takes 7 touches, 9 touches, whatever it is, to keep bumping your customer through the life cycle until they get to a point where you can offer them a 30-day money-back guarantee, for example, when they're ready to buy and they go, that's it, I'm ready to buy, something like that, right? So you engineer that process as well as you can.
Exactly. You're pushing them over the edge. But at first day, you're like, try it now, 30-day money back. I don't know. I'm not there yet. Take me on that journey.
Yeah.
Just a couple quick things. So develop a balanced channel mix. We talked about all of these different pieces. But you really want to look at some that are low risk and cost, that long-term play, but they're a lot more work. And maybe also add in that high risk. It might be expensive, but you can get some traction quickly, and you can find out if it's a win or a miss. So get specific with your channels. So don't just say social channels. Tell me specifically which channels matter. Like, I would want to see that on your grid. Make it measurable. whether you're using KPIs or milestones, so you have some sort of benchmark to go back to and you know whether you're doing well or not. People care about that. Your investors are going to care about that. I'm a huge fan of testing and learning. So a little bit of money here, pull it back. What did we learn? How are we doing? Now let me go to iteration 2 or A/B.
One of the key things, and you may hear me talking about this as well, is this concept of A/B testing.
Yep.
Run 2 or 3 different ads or promotions or something like that, and see which one gets the best results, and then put your money behind that. So this test and learn, you're going to learn from every one, and then based on that, you can really help move your improvement up to that next level.
Exactly. Super fan of A/B testing, do it almost daily. I would also say communicate, prioritize. I know we've talked about this. I'm a huge advocate of being thoughtful about your teams and your resources. I know you've heard me say it, but it's probably because that's what matters at the end of the day, is who you're working with and your teams and how you're going to bring this to market. So encourage them and encourage alignment, and be considerate of those resources. The last thing I just want to impart upon you guys is that this planning process, whether it's the go-to-market planning process, actually even maybe your product development process, this is the world I think of an entrepreneur, and one that I think about all the time. You're going through these discovery phases. You create, but you have to implement too. A lot of people just stop at the create. I've got this great idea. And what's going to get you through and make you successful is that you're going to implement. But then you pause, you evaluate. How do we do? We do better. That was great. This was a win. This was a miss. I'm going to iterate, and I do it all over again. And don't be afraid to embrace this and know that you're going to go through this a couple times. We all do. And that's what's going to get you success.
So as we wrap up, and for students, executives, leaders, whomever that's watching this, and you think, where do we end up with this process? Liz, you've just taken us through owned, earned, and paid media. We've talked about the complete customer view. We've understood who our customers are. We've taken a look at the customer life cycle. There's a lot of pieces. And if you were to say, to give us some guidance on what this looks like, is it using that worksheet at its kind of most basic level for each type of media or for each stage? And how many different tactics do we think about for each of these types of media or stages? What would you recommend to some of us maybe doing this for the very first time?
Yeah, I say the framework is a great benchmark for you guys. I think it's a nice way to, encapsulate your thinking. It keeps you disciplined and focused, and it can also help you prioritize what you want to do when and how big. So I would, of course, advocate using the framework, and I think it helps a lot of students in particular. But I'm using something very similar in my job right now. So use the framework. I'm thinking when you're starting out, look to maybe 4 to 6 in each of those categories. And some might be, this is out there. If I could get coverage on CNN, that would be my dream. Or if I could get on the Today Show or something like that, that would be my dream. So you might just put that out there as like an earned media piece that might be not within your reach at the moment, but put it down just as something that you want to set your sight towards.
So there's the realistic and the aspirational,
Sure.
and always keep your eye on the long-term prize.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. Liz, thank you so much for taking us through all of this, for sharing not just frameworks, but also lots of real world examples. For everybody watching, there is a wealth of information here. Good luck as you build out your go-to-market strategies, plans, and tactics. Liz, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure you guys will be great.
All right, everybody, go market the heck out of this.